All right, give them a nice round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, all of you, for being here. We started planning this event about a year ago, and we honestly did not think we were going to have this many people here tonight. So, my name is Michelle Morales. I'm the Associate Director of the Alternative Schools Network. So, good evening, and welcome to the Alternative Schools Network 40th Anniversary Gala. If you can't believe it, this is our very first gala, our very first fundraiser, and we're super excited about how well it's going tonight. We could not have done this without the support of our fabulous sponsors and our staff. I will say that if you see an ASN staff member, they all have name tags. Please go up to them and tell them congratulations. This event was actually planned by the staff, executed by the staff, set up by the staff. They did all of this. And we certainly would not be here if it were not for the vision and the tenacity of a group of dedicated activist educators and leaders, along with ASN's Executive Director, Jack Wiest, who had created an institution that would work on behalf of communities to educate their most disenfranchised youth and provide opportunities for learning, self-actualization, and empowerment. Over the last 40 years, the Alternative Schools Network has established itself as one of the premier organizations advocating for community-based education and workforce preparation for youth who have left the public school system. Sadly, we know that many of those youth tend to be youth of color and from low socioeconomic backgrounds and communities. Now, a lot of people in the room probably don't know what ASN does. I get that a lot. What do you guys do? But it's pretty simple. What we do is we support small, community-based alternative high schools that re-enroll out-of-school youth. We do that by providing them funding, resources, ongoing technical support to ensure their sustainability. And why is that important? Because these are the schools that serve as the very fundamental safety net that Chicago desperately needs for those who are most challenged and most at risk in life. At ASN, we raise the profile of these schools to policymakers, many of them here today, advocate on behalf of our member schools, and demonstrate the need for these schools to exist and remind key civic, government, and community leaders that the student dropout issue is very real, and it's a very real one with serious consequences here in Chicago. The public dialogue around youth violence and youth waywardness too often excludes the instrumental role that education plays on the ground level in serving as a preventative measure to stop violence in our neighborhoods before it even begins. Our role at ASN is to remind the public and our leadership that education is a key ingredient in building healthy, stable, and safe communities, and that our schools in particular play a pivotal role by providing those most at risk for violence an alternative with small schools with individualized education plans and personal attention. The schools that are part of our network were born out of community engagement, mothers, fathers, teachers, pastors, students who were sick and tired of seeing their peers, their youth standing out on street corners. As one youth stated, these schools see me here, I am not invisible. What our schools do best is that they acknowledge our youth, they see them for their strengths and for their challenges. Through our programming, the ASN impacts over 3,500 students annually, and so if we do the math, that's about 140 youth over 40 years. Providing crucial mentoring and counseling programs, after-school programming to keep youth in positive environments, year-long summer and employment programs, sports, arts programming, you name it. Our goal is always to augment the educational service our member schools and our partner YCCS to provide youth a rich, wholesome high school experience. We want to thank all of you for being here tonight, for supporting us in our member schools. This is as much their celebration as ours. We have many principals and students in the group today, and we have a little bit of a program tonight, so we hope you bear with us and hang in there. And I need a tissue. Does anybody have a tissue anywhere? My nose is running. Thank you, ma'am.
All right.
I'm going to turn around. Hang on a minute. That's a lot of tissues. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so let's kick off the program. We have two students who are actually featured in the film who are going to speak to you tonight about their experiences. Delion Bush is currently enrolled at Innovation High School. He has been there since January of 2011. He previously attended Robeson High School and before that, Riley High School in South Bend, Indiana. Since being enrolled at Innovations, DeLeon has been awarded the Gemstone Scholarship and was named by his student, which is earned by students who maintain a 3.5 or higher GPA, along with 90% attendance. Last year, he was awarded the Circle Foundation's Innovations High School Student of the Year Award. And over the past year, DeLeon has been a recipient of multiple awards at Innovations High School, including Student of the Month, the Social Responsibility Award, Academic Excellence Certificate, and a host of others. He is slated to graduate this June, plans to attend Ivy Tech, and he is the father of a very beautiful girl, Chloe. So DeLeon, if I can have you up here.
How's everybody doing tonight? That's good, that's good. You know, if someone would have told me a couple of years ago I'd be up here speaking in front of you, I would have said you're crazy, not me. Why, you might ask? Because it wasn't that long ago that I didn't care about school. I just wasn't concerned with or saw myself finishing school or even being a student. But since I came to Innovations, I have been pushed to want better and to take control of my life. There are people at my school that really care about the students and will do anything they can to see that we are successful. I am thankful for the opportunity that ASN and Innovation High School has given me. And I know there are plenty of other kids who can benefit from their programs. Like so many other people, my story didn't begin the way it is going now. My story is the story of thousands of young men and women living in Chicago. I sold drugs, I skipped school, gangbanged, and got into fights. All the things that can lead to a person giving up on education or simply not caring about it enough to take it seriously. But that was just it. My issue was the big C word, caring. I didn't think anybody cared about me, so I didn't care about school. People say it all the time, but in Innovations, the staff truly does treat you like family. For me, that was something very rare. I apologize. When I was in public school, I felt like I had to fight for attention from my teachers. Although that didn't work out like I thought, I did notice that the kids doing badly didn't get a lot of attention. I knew that I wanted some attention, but in hindsight, I realized the attention I was receiving wasn't the attention I really needed. All these things created the path that I am on now, and I truly have no regrets. It is because of the hardship that I am where I am today, in a great school, recipient of the highest school honor a student could qualify for, Gemstone Scholarship winner, multiple Student of the Month Award winner, and now a candidate for June graduation. DeLeon Bush, to drop in, not to drop out. Thank you.
Edwin Sanchez, another student you saw in the video, is currently a student at Antonia Pantoja High School. He's been there for 2 years. He formerly attended Von Steuben High School. He is actually the youth that you see in the video. I know it was hard to see, but he used to actually work a full-time job at night and then attend school during the morning, which happens with many of our youth. After graduating this year, he's also slated to graduate. Edwin aims to enroll in college to major in engineering and minor in music and performing arts. So if I can have Edwin come on. Oh, there it is. I got scared.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
First off, I would like to thank NSA for this great opportunity. Same to speak as to further my education. Like you already heard, working a full-time job, third shift, came out 6 in the morning, off to school. I couldn't make it. I will never make it. Today is the day that I still don't know Von Steuben, the whole school. And so I gave up. The school was the one who told me about charter and youth connections. So I saw this, they're giving up on me. They can't take me to school. So what I did was, I told them yeah, but I never went. When I saw the school, I actually came to Aspira. I saw a school that helped me in the personal level. It gave me that opportunity, that one-on-one hand training, And thanks to the program that NSA has given them, I have learned so much in career, social events, and even academic-wise, I feel I am more on track today than I was 4 years ago. Now, as a January grad, I hope to attend community college, then attend DePaul and get my engineering degree. I would never think this was possible if it wasn't for the opportunity that all of you have given me. So thank you and have a great evening.
Really quick housekeeping note. I know you all are probably freaking out or worried about silent auction. Silent auction will close later tonight, so you can find out if you won any amazing items. Again, that was our staff that put all of that together. So next up, before we get into the other part of the program, we wanted to have one of our principals come and speak tonight. We thought it was really important to have a principal speak about the services that they've received from ASN and just also the work that they've done in the community. So she's already coming up here. Dr. Myra Sampson Wilson is so listen to all of these titles. Is the founder, the Chief Education Officer, and the Principal of Community Christian Alternative Academy, located in the North Lawndale community. Founded in 1978, she was there at the beginning, and she's still there. CCA Academy was the first community-based alternative high school to be awarded by the Illinois State Board of Education and earned the right to award the high school diploma upon program completion. CCA Academy is a member of ASN and also a campus of the Youth Connection Charter Schools and currently serves 185 at-risk and dropout students per year. This amazing woman got her bachelor's degrees of science in 1971 from Bennett College. She then went on to earn a Master's of Divinity degree in 1974. She didn't stop there. She went on to earn her PhD in Educational Leadership in 2010, and I had the privilege and the pleasure of getting our Master's degree in Educational Leadership in 2012 as well. So she's amazing. She's a tireless advocate for her youth and the members of the North Lawndale community.
Thank you. Thank you. And good evening. This has been like a family reunion. Seeing so many of the old faces, so many of the people that we used to network, holler with, scream, cry, and as we grew together. Tonight, we gather to celebrate the Alternative Schools Network's 40 years of community-based education and advocacy in Chicago. To get an idea of how we arrived at this important moment, let's take a brief look back to the 60s and the 70s. This was the era of the civil rights movement, anti-war protests, feminism, and environmental activism. Everything was questioned, including traditional schooling and the way that students were taught and the way that they learned. In 1970, Paulo Freire's Pedagogy of the Oppressed was published in English. Based on his work with Brazilian adults, he argued that learners were not empty vessels, rather co-creators of knowledge. The teacher knows some, the learners know other things, and so together they learn and they grow. Empowerment education, liberatory education were the buzzwords. In 1964, Lyndon Johnson had his war on poverty. And out of that was a brain trust that discussed ways to make schools better places of learning for poor and minority students. This brain trust came up with the concept of schools without walls and alternative schools as ways to close the achievement gaps between blacks and whites, between rich and poor. Desegregation was thought to be another way to improve the quality of education for all students. Although Brown versus the Board of Education ended legal segregation in 1955, it took protests and boycotts throughout the country in the 60s and in Chicago, and finally a federal mandate in 1980 for Chicago schools to desegregate. But there was an experimental high school that opened in February 1970 that accepted students by lottery and was desegregating. This school was called Chicago High School for Metropolitan Studies, or Metro for short. Metro was a small school that used the city as its classroom. It was one of Lyndon Johnson's schools without walls. Soon, schools without walls and alternative schools began popping up all over the country, including in Chicago, where small community-based schools began to emerge. Some as schools, some as GED programs, some as youth organization, but all with one purpose: to educate the community's most disenfranchised youth and to provide opportunities for learning, self-actualization, and empowerment. These schools mirrored the social, the political, and the cultural changes of the 60s and the 70s. Many schools without walls and alternative schools came into existence and failed through the years. CPS closed Metro in 1991. But many of the small community-based alternative schools in Chicago have expanded and grown. So the question is how or why? The Alternative Schools Network, known as ASN, known as the network. 40 years ago, in 1973, a group of educator activists with all the energy and enthusiasms of the 60s and 70s had a vision to create an institution that would work on behalf of the communities by networking and developing small schools. That vision was actualized through the Alternative Schools Network. So Jack Weiss left DCFS and became the director of this membership organization. Over the next 40 years, ASN established itself as the premier education institution advocating for community-based alternative schools, workforce preparation, and advocacy to bring needed resources and policy changes that build and help communities to grow. So how does the network operate? As stated, it is a membership organization. Each member school has a vote. Schools elect the board of directors, which is made up of the leadership of the schools. In the early years, the schools even served on the committees that selected staff. Schools helped to fundraise for themselves and for other schools. Before charter funding and the Youth Connection Charter School, the network was the major funding source for small community-based schools in Chicago, and especially the independent ones. About half of the schools were independent and about half came from larger social service agencies. Now a little bit about Jack. Jack has many strengths that contributed to this growth. First, he is and was an avid reader and researcher, and he has a good memory. He was able to synthesize information, so he was always current with the literature and often first with the analysis of the data. Secondly, he was an organizer with an innate ability to mobilize people. And third, he has bulldog tenacity. He gets a hold of something and will fight, sometimes year after year, to see it through. So how do these skills help the network and the member schools to survive? Well, where did the money come from? 3- and 5-year initiative grants, federal, state, and city. Many times, ASN proposed systemic policy changes and new funding streams based on cumulative research. Many, many days were spent walking the Capitol, from legislators' offices to the House and Senate chambers, strategizing over dinner, who had a relationship with which legislator, who worked best together, who was going to stay overnight, which nights. At the end of the session, when the legislators worked late, we worked late. And I learned for the first time that they could hold the clock. That 12 o'clock didn't mean the beginning of a new day if they were not through with the business and the session was over. To get a bill passed or to get a line included in the line item included in the budget, that was our goal. And to get a line item in the state boards of education budget, oh my God, an ultimate success. We were schools that had no school dollars. We had money from the Department of Human Services, Department of Children and Family Services, Department of Commerce and Economics, federal funds from the Department of Commerce, Department of Juvenile Justice, Department of Labor, and of course, CETA funds that turned to JAPA, and now WEA, to just name a few. But don't think we were rich. We were always struggling and putting the ends together. So here, tonight, 40 years later, we pause to honor the vision, the work, the diligence, the leadership, the advocacy, the tenacity, the brilliance, and the survivor of the Alternative Schools Network and of Jack Weiss. We pause to remember all those whose hearts, souls, and minds contributed to the growth and development of the Alternative Schools Network for the last 40 years. We pause to applaud the survival of small community-based alternative schools in Chicago, dedicated to educating Chicago's most disenfranchised youth and providing opportunities for them to learn, to self-actualize, and to change their world and ours. And we pause to say thank you to Jack. Jack, thank you.
Executive Director of the Alternative Schools Network, Jack Weiss.
I thought that was my eulogy. I told someone, the network, I've been with the network for 40 years, and I'm only 50 years old. And it started young. When we started 40 years ago, we just worked hard to build the organization and never thought we'd still be kicking 40 years later. We also never thought we would be as successful as we have been to reach, teach, and graduate Chicago's most high-risk youth. Our goal has always been to help those who are most in need, to help them get an education, to help them finish high school, help them find work, and help them learn the skills they would need to become successful adults. The success that we have had in doing this comes from the staff of the schools who are really dedicated and really skilled, the staff of the Alternative Schools Network, and I would just give a hand for the staff of the network who did this daylight. I'm amazed that they picked a nice venue and they've really done a great job. And lastly, the staff at the Youth Connection Charter School. It's those people that make this possible. And most importantly, the help and support of our honored guests tonight who have gone more than the extra mile to provide more opportunities, provide inspiration, and provide dedication so that young people in our city can succeed. We've all worked together for the common good of our young people that we serve. Our supporters in the state legislature, the Cook County Board, and the Chicago City Council have proved key supports to helping us to develop counseling programs, employment programs for jobless youth, and education programs for youth who have dropped out of school. I won't go into some of the interesting programs we did. Maybe at 9:30, if you're still around, we'll do it then. Very simply, we could not have done this without our legislative support. Therefore, it's our privilege to take the time to honor them for their work with these awards. What I will do, we'll call up, the first group will be 7 legislators and aldermen. We'll give you the award. Mike, where are you? Take a picture, okay. And if you want an individual picture, not of me, of them. Please, I'll break the camera. But if you want to get an individual picture, we can do that too, and Mike will do that, and we can put it on their website or what you need. The first group is, it's irrelevant right now. State Senate President John Cullerton. I may have known John longer than he's known his wife. Edwin. Assistant Majority Leader, State Senator Maddie Hunter. Assistant Majority Leader Kimberly Lightford. Assistant Majority Leader Iris Martinez. Assistant Majority Leader Donnie Trotter. If it gets too crowded up here, you'll have to fight for a space on the podium. Alderman Danny Solis. Danny used to head up one of our schools in the late 70s and early 80s, Latino youth. And Chicago Alderman Pat O'Connor.
Can we leave now? Oh. Here we go. Get a group picture. Here we go. Oh, it goes back. What about Napoleon?
Okay, the next group, State Senator Emil Jones III. State Senator Napoleon Harris. Napoleon used to play for the Oakland Raiders. Chicago Alderman Ray Colon. State Representative Will Davis. State Representative Cindy Soto came and had to leave, and accepting the award on her behalf is Juan Calderon. State Representative Marcus Evans. Is Marcus here? Okay. State Representative Lisa Hernandez. State Representative Camille Lilly. And State Representative Rita Mayfield. Chicago Alderman Emma Mitz. Chicago Alderman Joe Moore. Chicago Alderman Latasha Thomas. And State Representative Arthur Turner. The last two people are the Executive Director and the Associate Director of Youth Connection Charter School, who have made this possible in terms of we got things started back in the mid-90s, but then they've really built the school into 4,000 slots, about 5,800 kids a year. And they have schools spread out across the city. Associate Director Larry Vaughn of YCCS. And YCCS Executive Director Sheila Venson.
Sheila.
Oh, take a picture.
What's the issue?
Jason or Race.
He's gone.
Okay.
Is Jason Urban here?
I heard that he just came in the last.
Is Alderman Jason Urban here? Okay, good. Good so much. We have 4 minutes. Huh?
No, you can't say anything else. We have to do something. Okay, Jack does not know that the next 10 minutes of the program are dedicated to him. That's why I was fighting over the mic. So, Jack, you got to stay up here. If I can have our board president, Oye Kale, here, come up, please. So Oye is our board president, but was also part of the beginning of ASN, was a longtime principal of one of our schools. We thought it was fitting for him to present an award to Jack Weiss tonight. And then after that, we have one more thing, and then we'll close out the salad, y'all can eat, drink, hang out. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. A couple of quick things. I was told that I have only 4 minutes to speak. Marvin told me that at least 17 times. The only problem is now that I'm here, I'd like to see him take me off in 4 minutes. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, everybody that's been part of the Alternative Schools Network. I have a list of people here I need to say thank you to, so let me run through that quickly before I have 1 or 2 other things. For all the people that are attending tonight, I say thank you so much for being part of us. I know that Jack was a politician, but I didn't know he knew that those many politicians that were here tonight. Politicians, thank you so very much for supporting us. For the staff of the Alternative Schools Network, particularly the Social Media Committee, the Student Participation Committee, and the Gala Committee, thank you so very much. And then thank you to Laurie Glenn, Michelle Morales, and Jack Weiss. Thank you again. Now, for my part, I don't remember exactly when I met Jack, but I suspect it might have been in 1974, 73 or 74, I'm not sure. He said yes. I may have a funny and foreign accent, but I can assure you I've been in Illinois longer than many of you are alive. So if you want to try out my accent, then you have to take a recording, take it home and see if you can translate what I've said tonight. But for the time being, I just have a few things to say, and that is to thank everyone, especially some of my colleagues who we started this thing together. By the way, Jack, by now you should know that I'm Jack's boss, right? Jack is boss. I sent a text to Jack this morning and I said, Jack, could you please give me the names of the first 5 people you knew with Alternative Schools Network, in parentheses, dead or alive. I needed the names of the 5 people. Jack did not respond. So Jack, you need to report to my office at 8:30 on Monday to explain what happened, why you didn't send. But I could come up with some names myself, and those I can come up with will be Myra Sampson, Myra, Gladys Simpson. I've not seen Gladys tonight. Gladys Simpson, Deborah Bailey, and Anita Smith. Yeah, her name is there. She's not giving me the thing I asked him to give me earlier today. Anita Smith. Any other names you can think of right now? I know I have it down here. Okay, Myra, Gladys, Pajuf. Let me say this, though, Pa. Your name is on the list, but you are not as old as we are, so I'm not sure why your name is on the list. You started way after us. Nancy Jackson started way after us also, Sheila Vincent, Larry Vaughn, and Marvin Garcia. One or two words about, sister, please forgive me. I'm getting old, that's why I should have been more prepared by the list. I'm so sorry. Okay? Now, I brought something. Could somebody please get me my bag there? I brought something out of that bag. Very quickly, I'm supposed to give Jack something, but Jack is going to get 2 things. Thank you very much. If you've known somebody as long as I've known Jack, and by the way, believe you me, I know many of you will not believe this, but Myra knows this, and Gladys knows this also, Deborah knows this. Jack used to have an afro. When we met Jack in the early 70s, afro was the in thing, and Jack used to wear an afro. Now I know you won't believe it now, but he used to have afro. Look at him looking at me early. And having known Jack this long, Marvin, I need you up here. Michelle, I need you up here. I have a personal presentation to give Jack before we give him the general one. Thank you. Jack, will you please take off your jacket? When I was told about this, now the 40 years, I think I've seen Jack put on a tie 3 or 4 times in 40 years. But I knew he was going to be in tie tonight, and I thought out of him now national, so he's in his own national. Michelle, could you please put this on for Jack so we can look the same when I'm giving the present? Anywhere on top of it. Yeah.
Wait. It's just struggling.
Is there a button there? I think you should take.
No,
I think you should take it off.
No, it's not gonna fit.
I'm so sorry, I think I got the wrong size for Jack. But don't worry about it, we're going to get the right size soon. Okay. Where's the award? I'm so sorry about that, but I wanted to surprise Jack, but Jack, I'm going to send this to you later. Now, this is the other award. Alternative Schools Network 40. Lifetime Achievement Award presented to Jacques in appreciation of your outstanding leadership and tireless efforts to ensure educational opportunities to all. Presented by the Board of Directors on the 40th anniversary of the ASN, November 13, 2014. Ten more seconds and my 4 minutes will be out. I will the big omission. Will the members of the Board of Directors please just wave your hands up there? Please, I'm so sorry, I think I recognize you. You just don't know how nervous it is being up here, then giving somebody with a big head a share of feet.
One more thing, this one will go fast. If I can have Marvin come up here, please. We were able to get a city proclamation done for the Alternative Schools Network. Alderman Pawar actually did it for us, and so November 13th has been declared as Alternative Schools Day in the city of Chicago.
A resolution adopted by the City Council of the City of Chicago of Illinois, presented by Alderman Pawar on October 8, 2014. Whereas the Alternative Schools was founded in 1973 when a group of dedicated education and community leaders combined their resources with a simple goal: to create effective and innovative community-operated programs to re-engage, inspire, empower young men and women, and to become a vehicle for resource development, joint programming, and advocacy on behalf of out-of-school youth and low-skilled adults. And whereas today, Alternative Schools Network is a membership-based organization composed of 33 not-for-profit, independent, and self-governing alternative schools, as well as youth and adult education organizations, and continues to be the largest and oldest formal network of community-based alternative schools in the country. And whereas every year in the city of Chicago, thousands of youth between the ages of 16 and 21 find their personal circumstances too insurmountable to overcome and remain in school. And whereas Alternative Schools Network believes that every youth is not only entitled to an education, but also the necessary support services to help them succeed at high school graduation, transition into the workforce, and society. Whereas for 40 years, Alternative Schools Network has engaged youth through innovative curriculum and programming, more personalized academic attention, tutoring, mentoring, pivotal social, emotional support, after-school extracurricular activities that opens doors to a lifetime of opportunities. And whereas Alternative Schools Network, its member programs and organizations engage more than 3,500 underserved Chicago youth each year in successful educational employment and supportive services and programs. Whereas Alternative Schools Network transformative services have increased marginalized youth graduation rates, decreased youth exposure to violence in prison, and help to ensure a strong future workforce by developing skills for youth to be productive and empowered citizens. And whereas Executive Director Jack Weiss and the Alternative Schools Network have worked tirelessly to effectively change the lives and outcomes of dropout students and have positively impacted Chicago communities through cost savings, increased safety, and future leadership development. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the mayor, and the members of the Chicago City Council assembled this 8th day of October 2014 do hereby proclaim November 13, 2014 as Alternative Schools Network Day in the city of Chicago, and congratulate the Alternative Schools Network and the milestone celebration and its many contributions to the citizens of Chicago, and be it further resolved that suitable copies of this resolution be presented to the Alternative Schools Network. Thank you. Thank you, Jack.
Get a clear picture.
I just want to thank everybody. I get embarrassed when I'm singled out. I'm only as good as the people around me. The staff, again, at the network, the staff at the schools, and the staff at YCCS. But I want to thank everybody for the accolades and thank everybody for coming tonight. And you can still, I don't know, there's still some food left, or
There is food left, there is drinks. Silent auction table A should be closed by now, and by 8:45 you can go and collect your prize. And silent auction table B will be closed at 8:45. Please make sure to visit the photo